Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Tonight is February 24th, 2022. We have one hearing on the agenda. It's 22 Corbin Road, application for a variance. Applicant and owner Daniel McLaughlin, construction of 26 by 24 foot detached garage. Stephen, could you read the legal notices,
Sure.
please?
Town of Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing notice. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held on Thursday, February 24th, 2022 at 7 p.m. by the Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals at the Oxford Town Hall, 325 Main Street, Oxford, Mass. To consider the variance application of Daniel McLaughlin for property owned by the applicant located at 22 Corbin Road, Oxford, Mass. Assessors map 33B, parcel A34 in the R3 residential zoning district. The applicant requests a variance of the minimum side yard and rear yard setback requirements as set forth in Chapter 10, Table 6 of the Oxford zoning bylaws to construct a single-story 26 by 24 detached garage, and further in accordance with Chapter 40A, Section 10 of the MGL. The application can be viewed in the office of the town clerk or land management department during normal office hours. Anyone desiring to be heard on this matter should appear at the place, date, and time designated or submit written comments to the board before the date of the hearing. See masspublications.org for legal notice. Is this for a variance?
Yep.
Nothing else. To the applicant of the Zoning Board of Appeals, you are hereby advised of the following provisions of the Oxford zoning bylaws. Appeals to the Zoning Board of Appeals must be filed within 20 days from the date or order of decision which is being appealed, specifying the grounds of thereof. Variances. In order to grant a variance for the requirements of this bylaw, the Zoning Board of Appeals must find that all of the following conditions have been met. A, there are unique circumstances related to the soil conditions, shape, or topography of such land or structures that B, especially affect such land or structures but do not generally affect the zoning district in which it is located. And that C, a literal enforcement of the provisions of this bylaw would be involved substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, but not of personal nature to the petitioner or the appellant, and that D, desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the purpose of this bylaw. In accordance with the Chapter 40A, Section 15 of Mass General Laws, you are hereby advised that any person aggrieved by the decision of the board relative to this matter must file an appeal as provided for Section 17 of said Chapter 40A within 20 days after the date of the filing of this decision in the office of the town clerk.
Thank you, Stephen.
Welcome.
Al, did you want to say anything, or?
Yes. I live at 4 Corbin Road,
Yes.
and I would leave it to you people to make a decision whether I should be stepping down or not.
Yeah, I have no problem
Right
with it.
at the end of the,
Yeah, I know
100
exactly where
foot.
you have that nice, long, deep lot at the end of the street. Yes. No, I have no problem.
okay, so you don't care if I sit in,
No.
that's fine with me.
But I'm just gonna go through the packet that you provided, just to make sure we all have the same paperwork.
All right.
And then after that, I'll give you an opportunity to give us more information or let us know what you want, you're looking to do. After that, the board will ask questions, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so we have we had the meeting notice, and we have the list of required documentation, and we had the application. We do have the tax status document showing that taxes are current. We have a copy of the deed. We have a copy of the zoning assessment map. We have a couple pages listing of the abutters from the town. Then we have a certified plot plan from, can't see who it's from. It's like Jarvis Land Survey. We have the zoning enforcement officer's denial letter with the statement that a variance could be applied for and explaining the reasoning. Then we have a letter from the applicant, this letter of intent. And then we have a copy of the as-built info from the septic to show where that's located. And then tonight, we received 3 letters from neighbors and abutters, all voicing their support for the neighbor. Pretty much stating the same thing. They voiced their support. They're in support of building a single-story garage on the property, you know, as stated in the application. So I'll open it up to you, Mr. McLaughlin, if you want to give us more information about what you're doing, or just explain. That would help us understand.
Yeah, my intention was to just build basically a 2-car garage. As I retire, it'll give me some place to park my car on a snowy day and also do oil changes and, you know, just work on my own stuff. Other than that, and looking at the lot and talking to the guys from Jarvis Land Survey, I wanted to keep it even with the house, so that's the 12-foot 4 inches on the side variance. In order to be able to put a car in the garage, I had to set it back far enough so I could get around my house and basically into the garage with no problem.
The entry is gonna be facing Corbin Road, is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. And the abutter behind me, that's a new house that was built in the last couple of years. He, or the builder, I think, applied for a variance to raise his property, so now it slopes down into my backyard. What he has done is, basically everything that slopes down, he put his fence up at the top. So even though I'm 6 foot away from the back of mine, and that is his land, it's not anything, it's not a fence or a side yard. There's another 12 feet from the property line to his fence by his choosing. And his property is now, if I'm standing in my backyard, I can't see his lawn. His land is up higher than ours. And he's put trees there, those wind block type. So it shouldn't be intrusive to him. I'm trying to keep the height of the garage basically the same height as the house. I have a 412 pitch in my house. I'm trying to do the same thing in the garage. I'm not looking for any storage in the garage above it or anything like that. It's just basically a 2-car garage. And yeah, at that point, that was my plan on why I set it to the side and put it directly behind the house.
All right. David, would you like to ask some questions?
Yes, please. What's the rear and side yard setback here?
The rear is 20 and the side is 15 in the zoning district. The rear is 20. He's proposing to put it 6 feet from the property line, so it'll be 14 feet of relief. And the side is 15, and it looks like it's proposed to be 12 and a half. So that would be 3 plus or minus foot of relief.
Are you paving the side of your property to the left of the house to get a car back there?
I have a driveway there now that's just gravel. I have one of those storage tents at the back of my house. It's been there for years. And that's what I use to keep my lawnmower, snow blower, and that stuff in. And so I've had a gravel driveway there for, probably almost since we built the house, since we bought the house.
But it's level?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My lot from front to back, from the street to the back of the property might go up 3 feet, but it's not a big deal.
And the vinyl storage shed, that's a movable, that's the.
Yeah, that would be coming down anyways. That's, like I said, it's my only storage for lawnmowers, snow blowers, stuff like that.
If you were to, instead of entering from the Corbin Road side, if you were to twist it, can you move it back and forward so that you comply with rear and side yard setbacks?
No, if you go to the back page, you'll see my septic.
That was gonna be my next question. It's not clear from this how far back to where the proposed garage it deals with.
If if you're looking at it from the street, the right-hand corner at the front of the garage to my septic tank, which is, basically in the middle, the back of the house is probably gonna be 14, 15 feet.
So if you turned the proposed garage,
I couldn't get any closer. I couldn't get any closer to the house. I would still,
you'd have to have it on top of your septic tank, you're saying?
yes, yes, I would be, basically, I'd have to go on, I would actually have to go closer to the property line to put in the 24-foot garage because of the way the tank is angled. I'm thinking, because the back corner of the tank, my garage is probably gonna be 15 feet from the left corner. If I turned it, the, back corner of that tank would be even closer. It's probably gonna push me back further to put in a 24-foot garage.
I only bring it up because it would make it probably that much easier to get in and out of the garage if you turned it and brought it backward and to one side. You'd have a clear, in and out, and you wouldn't have to worry about getting around the house before you get in. But you're saying that would put you too close to the septic system.
It would put me between the septic system and the property line, and I'm not sure how many feet exactly would be there, but I think that you'd end up to stay far enough away from the septic tank and put the 24-foot garage in. I think you'd be pushing closer to the property line. In my back property line is my neighbor's side property line. His house is set in off the other street.
Okay. That was my only questions, to potentially take it out of needing any variance.
Okay. Stephen?
The access way on the side of the house to go to the garage, you said it was gravel?
Yes,
So is that gonna be gravel all the way up to the entrance of the garage?
pretty much, yes. That's the plan at this point. Just gravel. It's not, like I said, it's not something that I'll be parking in every night. It's
Yeah,
more of a regular garage. And on a snowy night, as I get older, I'll be able to park the car in there. But other than that, no, it's not access on a nightly basis for my car. So I'll be parked out in front of the house.
No, I hear you. When I looked at the plans, I figured either you're parking your car in the street, or I didn't know about the side, when.
No, I have, in the front of the house, we have a driveway that's now basically double wide.
Okay,
The
yeah,
single in front of the house is tarred, but it was probably asphalt 30 years ago, so it
It's all
doesn't
beat
look
up.
that good, but until we had the septic system done last year,
yeah.
and I needed to get the septic system done before I could even know where the garage was
Sure.
going, because if you're familiar with that neighborhood, there's a lot of ledge. My house is on a slab, and in putting in my septic system, we paid an extra $4,000 to have rocks drilled in order to put it in.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's pretty much solid rock under the, under the house.
And the way you had it situated, the garage, it's basically, by looking at the house and you look at the garage, they're all equal in line of each other, not
Yes.
off-centered.
No,
Yeah.
I figured I'd go straight down the
Yeah.
line of the house and put the garage in line with the side of the house.
Sure, yep,
And like I said, in order to come around the house and get into the garage, I had to be as far back as I could go in order to get a car into the garage.
yep. Is it gonna be, gonna have lights,
Yes.
electricity running into it and everything?
Yeah, just basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. No, I'm all set, thank you.
All right, thank you. Al?
Yes. Your leach field is in the front. right?
Correct.
That's, I don't know how you address it, but, and you gave an explanation to the back, and it probably would be quite expensive to move that tank, but you should
Yes.
maybe consider it at some point.
They had to drill rocks to put it there.
Yeah, after you explained it, I can understand. It's gonna be very hard to get the cars into your garage, but like Dave suggested, if it was turned a little, it'd probably be easier, but some people like everything square in the lines, so. Any way that you wanna do it,
Okay,
that's fine.
thank you.
And compliment you on getting your neighbors signed
Yes.
letters in.
It's a nice neighborhood up there.
Yeah.
We're all fairly close, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking out in the street and shoveling driveways and so on and so forth, but
That's all I have.
Oh, okay, Al, thanks. Dan?
Thank you. Thank you for presenting this and coming here tonight. And I did drive through the neighborhood a couple times to see, and this seems right in line with what the neighbors have. And even your house is already at that, 12.4 on one side and 10.2 on the other side. So this isn't, I'm thinking it's not out of the realm. I did want to make one point. I was wondering what the relief was you're looking for, but Peter had mentioned it earlier in the back with that 6 feet. Even though the neighbors have a fence beyond that, we still got to consider
Oh, no,
future,
and I
future
understand
use
that,
of what's
but
going to happen there.
if his fence was right there and it was his yard, it would be, yeah. I might have tried to move it someplace else, but
Right.
it's, I feel like I'm doing the best I can, and he's obviously doing the same,
Yeah.
where his fence is at the top of the hill, so.
So I think the questions I was going to ask is relief and the need for it, but you've explained that very well. So thank you. I'm all set, Peter.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I am familiar with the area. I didn't actually go by, but I did look at it online with the street view. As I said, I'm familiar. I know your back neighbor that you mentioned, that's a new house.
Yes.
It was built within the last year, I believe, it's not even on the assessor's map here.
Okay.
still, Right, that we have, shows it as a blank lot. And I appreciate you said that the line of the garage is going to be in line with the house. So in theory, from the street, you almost won't see the garage.
Correct.
It'll be back there. And I was wondering about the height. You mentioned it's going to be the same height as the house?
That's my goal. It will be, yeah, within a couple of inches as far
Yeah.
as, depending on the height, as far as whatever I put in for a pad, so on and so forth. The goal is to, yeah, not go over the height of the
Okay,
house, but
yep.
it'll be close.
Okay, and do you have town water there?
Yes, I do,
Okay.
which
So there's
they
no-
also had to move when they put in the septic
So
system.
there's no well there.
Nope.
We talked a lot about your septic. I would note, I did note on my map who your closest neighbors were. Obviously, you talked about the one in back, which is at 11 Monument Drive. And I think closest to you is 24 Corbin Road. Actually, you've got, would be what, 20 and 24? You're right in the middle?
I
this-
think that, I'm in the middle, but I think the other one is actually on Monument,
Oh, okay, so that's.
Calvin.
So, but I see a letter here from 24.
Yeah. And that's.
Okay, yeah. And, obviously, there's no one else in the audience tonight. I didn't have any other questions. Normally, we'd open up if there's anybody in the audience. Did you want to state anything? You're all set? Okay. David?
I noticed you're looking for 2.5 feet relief from the side yard setback. Normally, what I would like to do is give a whole number, because if you're an inch or two over, I'd hate to see them come with a huge saw and saw off 2 or 3 inches of the side of your, so would you be okay if it was, instead of 2.5 feet, not 2.5 feet, if it was,
Yeah, 2.5 feet
yeah,
of
instead of
relief.
2.5 feet, if it was 3 feet of relief? Or no, 2 feet of relief. So if you're a few inches closer, that's okay.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, my goal is to straighten line with the house.
Got that wrong before. I got that wrong before. I think I said 3 feet of relief, but it's
It's 2 feet.
2 feet.
Yeah.
No, wait,
No, it's 3
3
feet.
feet.
Yeah.
3 feet of relief. No, I was right the first time.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 feet would allow me to put it closer to the property line.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, you don't have to, but
Yeah.
if there's,
Yeah, if the shingles are hanging over it, I don't have to peel them off. No, I understand what you're saying.
okay.
That counts for the edge of the roof overhanging.
Yeah,
That's where some people get in trouble because they measure the foundation.
okay.
And they go, and that's why Dave was
And-
suggesting
Like I
a
said,
little bit extra.
yes.
So how
And
about
no, and I
probably
agree,
line
but
it
I'm
up
going
with your
by what
house,
the Jarvis said, and I'm assuming they did to the furthest point out in the house. But yes, I agree with you.
so how about the back line though?
That was my question,
Right
Alan.
on, if we're looking to put it 6 feet, is that 6 feet the overhang or anything on the back? or
Are
is
are
that-
you comfortable that the roof won't be any closer than 6 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I can make sure of that, because I have, all the pins are in and the stakes are still there, but I'll go across from the pins, and I'll make sure any overhang is less, greater than 6 feet,
Okay,
so that would be fine.
so it's 3 feet on the, on the side.
yard and
3 feet of relief on the side, 14 on the rear.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, so once we close the public hearing, there'll be no more input, and we'll just deliberate, so. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, yes, and the vote, Dan,
Yes.
to close the public hearing?
Yes.
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 Yes, okay. All right, so, I mean, we just deliberated a little bit. We kind of clarified the relief, 3 foot of relief from the side yard setback and 14 of relief from the rear setback. I think it's important that, the description of the approximately 12 feet beyond his property line to the neighbor's fence. And it seems like it's a steep grade, so it clearly seems unusable land, kind of adds a little bit of buffer. Any other thoughts, or,
No, I agree, Mr. Chairman.
okay?
Agreed. And the neighborhood is suited the same. A lot of the houses are set up the same with the same type of structures close to the lines like that.
And I recognize that a garage in New England is something that's important,
Yes.
especially as you get up there and become a bit more seasoned.
Correct.
That's a nice way to put it.
That was great.
Like that.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we allow a variance with 3 feet of relief from the side yard setback requirement and 14 feet of relief from the rear yard setback requirement.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a second. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. Dan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
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 Yes, okay, so it is approved unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck.
You realize once this all gets typed up and recorded with the town clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period that anybody could appeal the decision. So I don't think you'd want to start building or anything until that point, but,
No, I'm good. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
all right, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, for other business tonight, we did also have some minutes that came in from our last meeting, February 10th. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to read those. If so, do we want to act on those tonight? Do we have any meetings coming up in the near future, Mary?
Yes, I have another one scheduled for you for March 10th.
March 10th, so do we want to resolve this one tonight? Okay, so let's see, David was here, myself, Stephen, Al, Dan, so we were all here. Anybody want to make a motion to accept these as written?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of February 10th as written.
Second?
Second?
Okay.
Yep.
And the vote?
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes, okay, so those are approved. The other business, Mary provided in our packet a listing of apparently the costs to advertise and mail have been going up. And how, and the application fee to file with the zoning for appeals is, what is it, $130 plus?
It's $130 plus 53 cents per a butter over 8.
Okay,
And that fee has not changed since I've been here.
yep.
How many years have you been here?
14.
Doesn't time fly by fast when you're having a ball?
So I would say this, I'm certainly not in favor of raising rates on taxpayers, but I also believe that there should not be money made off of services. We shouldn't charge extra than what the service costs, but it seems like it's, if I'm understanding these numbers, it's becoming much more costly, even to the advertising and the mailing is much more costly than what we're charging.
Well, if I could, Mary, if it went up by $5,
It still wouldn't be enough.
what do you feel would be needed in order for it to be revenue neutral?
Revenue neutral.
What's your column that says total cost, and then there's another one that says fee to the right of it?
Okay, so for instance, the hearing that we just had for 22 Corbin Road, the total fee turned out to be $141.13. So that was
Okay,
$130 plus 53 cents
So-
for a butter over 8.
so the fee is what
So
you
the fee
charged.
Is what we charge.
Okay.
$141.13. The advertising cost is $98.29 to run an ad for 2 weeks in the paper. The mailing cost to notify all of the abutters, and basically we're notifying the abutters twice. We send them the public hearing notice, and then when the decision is filed with the town clerk's office, we send all of the abutters a notice of decision, and that enables the abutters to appeal if they so choose.
Okay,
Plus, the decision is always mailed to the applicant or owner by certified mail, and that costs about $8 to send a certified letter.
okay,
So the actual cost was $145.51. So we were short $4.38.
So,
Now, what would happen if instead of mailing like them a certified copy, hey, Mr. So-and-so, come on down, here, sign here acknowledging receipt, here's your copy.
Well, I don't have time to call all of the
Yeah, I
abutters
think
and have
that's-
them come down to
Okay,
the
no,
town
that's
hall
fair,
and,
that's fair.
I mean, I think people probably appreciate, even all the abutters, to be kept informed.
Correct. Right.
You know, they're getting the initial notice, and they know the results.
Right.
It gives them the opportunity. People are busy. I think having it in their mail is a good service instead of them having to come here, even
Right.
though we would like participation, but, so the rightmost column, the difference is showing these are the amounts that were above and beyond what was collected on
Correct.
each of
Right.
these things.
Yes.
And it
So-
looks like it's all postage.
Well, it's advertising too.
But-
It's advertising and postage, so if you go down to the next,
It's a combined cost.
example,
Mhm.
it was 6 Tremont Street, which was the last hearing, so that was a special permit and a variance. So you'll see that the advertising cost on that, just because there's more description in the legal ad, was $120.13. And the fee that they were charged was a little bit more because they had more abutters. And the total cost of that one ended up being $174.77, leaving us short $29.93.
So
Can-
another way I look at that, there's 6 hearings, 6 cases here.
Yeah, I wanted to give you some examples.
And it cost the town about $100. And that was what, for the last year and a half?
Yes. And so we're
Well-
going back several years. This is only.
I know, it just
Can-
seems like if we're talking about costing the town
It's like
$100 a
yes.
year, it's not,
Can
It
can I
doesn't
get
seem
clarification
onerous.
on a couple things?
Sorry?
Can I get clarification on a couple things?
Absolutely.
So, roughly, the average was $156.77. And we were getting fees, that was the total cost, and the fees average out to $140?
Correct.
Okay, so you're just looking to see if we want to raise the fees, and sorry, I hope I didn't cut anybody off.
No, I
But-
want to raise the fees so
Right.
that
The applicant's the one paying, so right now,
Applicant
this,
is paying.
this $100, even though it's just $100, that's actually getting onto the all the taxpayers, when it's really the applicant that is looking for this.
the applicant is looking for relief, right.
And it's difficult to charge them on the size of the legal description.
You don't know what it's going to be.
No, I understand. That's why I'm saying you can't say, well, your legal description is bigger than the
Right.
next guy, so I'm gonna charge you an extra $20.
But I heard if it's a single, whether it's a variance or a special permit, but if it's both, then she knows that the cost is greater.
Right,
So should it be,
Well, you charge them twice then.
no,
no.
it's
You're
one,
applying for 2 things.
No, we
all
we
one
have.
application, one
we haven't
mailing.
done that.
Oh, really? Is that something we could look at? Is that the great point?
Well, it
So-
sounds,
So the Tremont Street people who were here the last meeting we had, they needed a special permit and a variance. So you'd be okay with charging them, double because they need a special permit and a variance?
no.
No,
No, but I guess, you know, again, I don't know. Again, I don't wanna see the town lose money, but there's a lot of services in town that are done for some people, and the town absorbs it, taxpayers in general absorb it. If we're talking about $100 over the last year and a half that the town had to absorb for 6 people, I don't know, I don't see it as a huge amount, but I can see the other part that it hasn't been raised in 15 years or so, and everything is going up in cost.
so this is only 5 or 6 examples over the last year or so, and there have been, of course, many other hearings in front of you over the years.
Yeah,
So the deficit
$100 a
certainly would
year,
have increased.
yeah.
Have you done,
Again-
have you done an average?
Yes,
It's there.
The bottom line is the average of these 6.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not the 6, but an average of the whole year of,
well,
You
this
might-
is about a year.
Oh,
This is
only
about a
6?
year's worth of hearings. So the average advertising cost was $115.
I don't know, maybe we wanna do,
The
I was gonna suggest
average
that they,
total
if
cost
they
is
variance
about
and a special permit, raise theirs 10
$157.
bucks. The ones that have the 2,
So I also included,
because we know the advertising cost.
I
I'm
did
sorry.
a little bit of research on some surrounding towns, and I like the way that the town of Auburn, set up their fee schedule.
That was in this packet, right?
Yeah, so they have a flat fee or a flat rate for special permit and variances, and it varies if it's residential or business. Then they have a flat rate for their advertising fee, and they have a flat rate for mailings to the abutters.
I think that's too high.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's
I'm
too
sorry,
high.
I think that's too high. I mean, it's, I mean,
Peter-
others
Peter-
might feel the
Peter
same.
had a good idea, Peter.
Well, I'm sorry, we were talking, but just when you mentioned that if it's a more complex application and there's you know that there's gonna be a higher advertising, fee because if it was a variance and a special permit. The thought there was maybe in those cases, they get charged the extra $10 or something to cover, because you know that the advertising is going to be more when it's two things being asked for. Or, I mean, one could even argue if we start to go down that path as far as complexity goes, that, and I see in Auburn's case, if it's a comprehensive permit, $750, although I think that's high.
Right.
But we know that there's gonna be multiple advertisements on that, because there's gonna be multiple hearings.
There's only one advertisement. I mean, it's in the newspaper for 2 weeks in a row.
No, but I mean, comprehensive permit, that's like the chapter 40B,
Chapter
right?
40B.
So there could be meetings going on for, it could be
There
5 or
but
6 or
it's
10
not-
meetings.
It only goes into the newspaper the one time.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. You don't have to advertise
It
each.
does not have to be advertised for continued public hearings.
Okay, so I take that back then.
How many applications do you think in a year that are both a variance and a special permit?
It depends. It depends on if it qualifies, for a special permit, if it's altering or extending the pre-existing non-conforming. So if this
Well, I'm just thinking
gentleman-
in terms of trying to decrease that, you know, and again, it's not a lot of money, decrease that $100 by saying, you know, if you're looking for the two forms of relief, then it's an extra X number of dollars.
I don't wanna make it complicated either. I think it would be easier for everyone involved if there was just a flat rate, a flat fee.
What do some of the other board members think? Any thoughts?
When I'm looking at it, I didn't know, is this document that's underneath Auburn, or it didn't say a town on it?
Oh, yeah, that's the town of Auburn, yeah. Yes, sorry.
I don't like this, but, I would say, just thinking about and throwing it out, the advertising cost should be a number higher than what we have to pay for the advertising, because the people that come before us should pay for that.
Okay,
The mailing cost should be flexible per mailing
okay.
to cover that.
Now, I take it some of those mailing costs are not just the number of abutters, but the number of hearings that there are?
The mailing,
Yeah, I mean, do you count the mailings that come to us as part of the cost?
the mailings that go to you?
Yeah.
The packets?
Correct.
No.
Okay, so the mailing costs,
Mailing is strictly the public hearing notice that goes to the abutters and the 8 abutting towns, the notice of decision that goes to abutters and 8 abutting towns.
so,
And-
so to Al's point, the mailing costs are all a function of the number of abutters?
Yes,
So each time, that would be different, right?
it
It's depending
is
on the number of
different.
abutters.
right now.
And I would
it's
say you
different.
should maybe set something like $1 per person, that once they get in a abutters list,
Mhm.
you get 50 abutters that have to get a mailing, times $1 would be $50.
Right, well, that's what
Cover
the
it.
town of Auburn does. They
But-
have the mailing fee of $1 per abutter. But that probably was a few years ago when the cost of a stamp was 50 cents, and now it's
Yeah,
53.
and then you'd be raising that, but I think the advertising costs, you kind of probably know what would cover that,
Mm-hmm,
and they should pay that. That should be
Right.
a fixed fee.
yeah,
But what I didn't like about Auburn, they're treating different entities different.
okay,
I don't think the fee for the advertisement is any different, depending on whether you're
right.
residential or business or
Well, it looks like they have a
multifamily or
flat-
industrial.
It looks like they have a flat fee, Al, for
They have a
advertising.
flat fee as well,
For advertising. The other one is on top of that, a permit fee.
correct.
They
So,
have a permit fee, which is varying based on what the situation is, a flat fee for advertising for all, and then $1 per abutter.
Okay,
So
I
the
would say that's something that,
I would say that's a moneymaker for Auburn.
well, you can
well,
keep in mind
the whole
this-
project isn't a moneymaker because we're, as a town, we're
No,
paying
understood.
for everybody, the room, the clerk.
No, that's
Right.
true.
I was
So-
just gonna point that out, Al. Most other fees that end up being, set also take into consideration the amount of time it takes me to make all those copies, to fold all those public hearing notices and stuff them into envelopes and print the paper, and so
Right.
that
So-
usually for planning board fees or Board of Health fees, those administrative costs are kind of built into the fee as well.
So what would you see, you work with the numbers all the time and you put these together, which are great. What would you suggest? What would be the least complex thing to do to ensure we're not,
The
you
least
know?
complex to stay in keeping with, I think, having the fee not be a burden on the applicants would be to have a flat fee for the advertising, closer to the average. You know, we've got, the average is 115, so I would say 125. The average, for the total cost is $156, and I didn't average out the mailing cost. I guess I should have done that.
I think you could probably subtract the average total cost at 156 minus the 114, so it's probably $42
Yeah.
is the average.
So the average total cost is $156.77. And that covers advertising and mailing. Some are a little bit smaller than that, some are a little bit bigger, but to be able to cover the costs and not be operating a, agency account, because the fees go into an agency account and they have to get turned over to the treasurer, and, you know, there's your starting amount and your, what's added on and what's deducted, and if it's a loss, to me, it doesn't seem like a good thing.
So the fee is what the applicants were charged. That's what they had to pay.
Correct.
Correct. So if our application fee is currently $130 plus the 53 cents per abutter over 8 abutters, then at an average of $140, it seems like the average was about 20 abutters. Is that mine, or no?
That could make sense.
My,
I did have some other paperwork where I had counted every single abutter.
because the fee, the actual fees, the only thing they're charged for is the application fee plus the extra abutters, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so it looks like it's about an average of 20 abutters. So the average that they're paying, the average that they're actually paying right now is $140 and some change. If
Correct.
there's a flat fee of $130, they're being charged, on average, $10 more for abutters at 50 cents each. It's about 20 abutters, or 18 or 19. I don't know. Any thoughts?
Yeah, My suggestion, raise it to 140 plus 53 cents per butter over 8, and let's revisit it 6 to 12 months down the road and see whether we continue to be in the negative or we're in the positive.
Any other thoughts on that?
Raise it to 150.
Well, look, I mean,
I'm just trying to cover the.
right, you want to cover the
costs.
cost, cover the cost of the person, cover the cost of the paper. All we're doing is recouping the cost on the mailings of the 53 cents. So then the Oxford taxpayers pay the rest of whatever the fee is. So should we
Well, if you're gonna
consider?
raise it to 150, then there's not gonna be a cost for postage.
Right, so I was gonna say, if you did something like that, then change the minimum number of abutters to, you charge them if it's over 16 abutters or over 20 abutters. If the average actual, if they're actually paying right now for an average of 20 abutters, yeah, I don't know.
So I'd
Again,
also
I-
like to add that I don't think that the certified mailing charge was ever calculated into, the fee. And that's like, right now, it's $7.76 to send a certified letter.
I don't know,
And,
this,
and we, according to our zoning bylaw, we're required to do that.
yeah, I mean, I don't want this to sound cold or anything like that, but what's the total budget in the town for the year?
I'm not.
30
in the
million?
finance department,
30
so-
million, $40 million?
Got a meeting
We're
coming up
talking about
in a
$100
week.
here, $150 or whatever,
Over 15 years.
per year. But the town budget is $30 million a year, and we're talking about $100 a year.
Well, like Dan said, and I agree with him, it's the applicant who is applying for relief. They should at least cover the cost of what they're looking to get relief for.
It's a lot easier to round all those numbers off instead of nickel and diamond with dimes and nickels, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanna work on this and come up with a better figure, and I can work on it too, and, try to figure out the average number of abutters and what would be more reasonable.
you take the 114, you bring it up to, say 1.25, and take the mailing cost, add that, you're looking at 165 overall.
Right, and that's too high for some of the other members.
Yeah, I would agree it's too high, but I'm just one vote.
I mean, what if you went to the, I'm just throwing it out there, you talked about 140, 150, went to the 140 or 145 and go to a dollar per abutter? Because then you're still gonna have a fixed cost, but it's gonna be, it will vary depending on who the applicant is. So then the actual increased fee will go to the
So
person or the people.
the dollar per abutter would be for the notice before the meeting and then the notice of the result.
Correct,
Right.
A dollar per abutter over a certain number of abutters.
or a dollar per abutter.
Or just a dollar per abutter. Now, so you're talking a dollar, is it 53 cents per abutter per dual? So is it $1.06, or is it just 53 cents?
One-time
It's
fee.
just a one-time,
But there's two mailings going
but
out?
there's 2 mailings going out.
Okay, so that's, I mean, we're not even recouping the cost
Right.
there on the 53 cents.
Correct, so a dollar,
So a dollar, it'd be $1.06 right there, just in
$1.06.
postage, not about the envelopes, the paper, the time to process it.
if you raise the,
Well, I don't think that should fall on the applicants.
But should it fall on the people in the town?
Well, that's
It's a
part
service
of
the
the,
town provides.
that's part of providing the function of government. I mean, I would personally go with 140 base fee, and I would go a dollar per abutter over 8. And, see how it is in a year, based on that. It should be revenue neutral.
Agreed. Agreed.
That would
I'm just
be.
the alternate. I'm just here. I'm just
No,
throwing out my
you're
opinion.
you're a voting member tonight.
So the other thing with fees for ZBA is the ZBA can recommend a fee, but it ultimately has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I mean, the proposal I'm hearing, if we went to 140 and then you also increased the dollar per abutter, with the average number of abutters being 20, it looks like people's fees would go up from what they're paying now in an average of 140 would go up to 160. So it would be a $20 increase, it looks like.
Let me run some numbers based on your proposal. and
140 plus a buck per abutter over 8.
Based on these examples. And then we have another meeting coming up on March 10th. We can do it.
Just round up all the figures, like it's 120.13, it's 121. Do like the government does. They don't round down, they round up.
Oh,
You could
No,
do,
that's
no,
an
you could
idea.
do the dollar, no, I can't.
No, so it's
I
just,
know, if we're gonna do an average, let's see a true average.
Right.
you know,
I
then,
think Stephen means just round up the fee, right?
yeah,
So
you know,
if it comes up to be $141.13, round it
Oh.
up to 142.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's not a fee. You're including the actual, out-of-pocket cost. That's, I mean, definitionally, it's just not a fee. You know, it's recouping the town's costs.
But aren't there a lot of, just to play devil's advocate, aren't there a lot of other services in town that are provided that the town doesn't recoup the costs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But it could be benefit through the
But-
whole
but it-
town and not
but
just
at least-
individual people.
Well, I think a lot of times those benefit only a certain number of people. They don't necessarily benefit everybody, but, again, I just think in the scheme of things, we're talking a little bit here. Again, I don't know what percentage it would be of the total budget, but, I do realize costs have gone up. I just don't want it to be, I personally, I'm only one vote. I personally don't want it to go up too much. But, you know, I think a lot of people that come before us, you know, they're in a hardship situation and, you know, so. All right, but yeah, maybe if we get some additional numbers and, we can certainly talk about it again. Maybe Tom will be here at the next meeting. He might have some other input we want to hear.
cost of doing business.
Yeah, but
That's-
it's really not business. You know, it would be nice if government operated like a business, but it really has nothing to do with business.
Well, from my end of it, it is a business. You know, I'm taking in applications, I'm processing them, I'm making sure that all of the filings are, getting filed with the right places at the right time, making sure that meeting notice is being
It's certainly a
posted
lot of work.
no less than 14 days before the public hearing, making sure that all of the abutters are properly notified, all of the abutting towns, and, you know.
The
I mean, it's-
people are paying for expertise.
It's evident in the package you put together, because you always have the right information, you're very detailed in what you provide to us, it's very helpful, so.
Oh, if you're talking about whether you should get a raise, that's an entirely different matter. Entirely different matter.
Just to let you know, their pays are frozen for the next 3 years.
Where? In town?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
just figured I'd throw that out there.
All right, so it sounds like we're not going to come
Okay,
to
we
a
can talk
decision
about it
tonight.
further,
Yeah,
most
just,
definitely.
you get a chance, just, like, when I say just round every number up and take an average, and now you're gonna be, we can't be exact in the same ballpark.
Right.
It's
No, no, I
impossible.
know.
But we
'Cause
can't,
I seen Butters lists that were friggin' a rap sheet, and I seen, well, like tonight, there wasn't that many, you know? but,
Yeah, there was more than a page of them tonight.
yeah, was it?
Yeah,
I didn't have
yeah,
it.
it was 20.
It's a
But, you know,
shame
so-
that more
so how
people
can
don't
you-
show
How
up.
can you dissect something
people are
like that,
busy.
but you can't?
How,
busy,
you
and
can't,
that-
no,
and
you're
getting
absolutely
the
right.
Why
mailing-
they don't vote.
No, but, well, that's a problem too, but getting the mailing, which I think is very helpful to them, as a neighbor, you can say, my life is busy, but you can review it and you can say, I'm not really opposed to it, so I'm not gonna show up. Okay?
Exactly,
You-
right.
I think you
Yeah.
you know, it's,
If they were opposed to it, they would show up.
I know I've gotten notices from properties I've owned in other towns. You get the notice and you never hear what happened,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So
Yeah.
it is nice, I think it's a nice thing to have the final one to understand the outcome and,
Right.
I don't know,
That's great.
all right. Is there any other business anybody wants to bring up? If not, we could move to adjourn.
Can we take a vote to condemn another country?
No,
No, okay. Then I move to
it
adjourn.
has no standing here.
Second,
And a
second
second,
that.
okay, and the vote to adjourn?
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you.
This is a veritable United Nations.
Good night, thank you.